Good morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning, and it's Sunday the 6th of May, and I'm now 41 weeks and a day. We are up at the crack of dawn because we're actually on our way to the hospital. Yesterday at about 4 o'clock, while in mother care, I thought my waters had gone. I felt almost like, it might be TMI, but almost like I'd lost control of my bladder. It wasn't a full gush, it was nothing spectacular and dramatic like I you would have hoped. But I'm telling you what, if my waters have gone, I'm going back to mother care to see if there are something like free nappies for a year or something. But it was just a sensation that I didn't feel like I could stop. So I went to the toilet and there was some clear liquid. And I've continued to feel like a dripping sensation ever since. So I spoke to Delivery Suite, who were kind of of the same opinion as me, that they think it might well have been my waters. When you're in that situation, you've then got 24 hours really to get the baby out. So they give you around about 12 hours to let you start labour naturally, which would have taken me to about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, that... Just water, please. Obviously that wouldn't really have been too nice. So when I spoke to him last at 10 o'clock last night, they agreed to let me come in, or suggested about coming in at 7 o'clock this morning. So we're now on our way in. We just stopped to get some fuel. We're going to get a McDonald's breakfast on the way. And they're going to check as to whether my waters have gone. I've got backache. I've had a few twinges, but nothing significant. And if they have gone and I'm still not getting contractions, then they will have to induce, which will mean that there is no midwifery birthing unit for me. But I think I'm okay with that. I think it's about putting my hypnobirthing to good use and just making the best of my birth that I can, really, now, and making the best of the situation and holding on to the fact that we may well have a baby by the end of the day, which is quite exciting. Didn't sleep a great deal. And yeah, this isn't quite how I imagined us having our baby would be. If this is what's gonna be, I kind of imagined a big dramatic waters going and grabbing bags and me panting in the car as we race down the A47, rather than this quite calm morning of getting ready, having time to do my makeup and my hair, and Mark and I calmly talking about the weather and what we're going to have for breakfast from McDonald's on the way. But I'll vlog what I can, and we'll see what happens from here. Ooh. Hello. So as you can see, I'm now back at home in the garden, relaxing in the sunshine. So it's about 9:30 now. We were up there for about we were up there till about 9, so we're up there for a good couple of hours, and they gave me and the baby a good check over. Even they weren't sure if my waters had broken or not, but eventually they did a swab and that showed that they haven't gone. Had they gone, they would have let me go until this evening, and then they would have induced me. Not gonna lie, I was absolutely fine on the drive, as you saw when I was talking to you. But it was when I walked on the ward I had a bit of a wobble, because it then all of a sudden dawned on me, oh my god, I'm actually gonna have to give birth to a baby. And I got pretty scared. Midwife though was absolutely fantastic. Really good, really friendly. Sat down, talked me through everything, talked me through what my fears were, and what options I had, really, just so I felt a bit more in control. The result, and like I said, she was fantastic. So her name was Rachel, and thank you, Rachel. Like, what she did was fantastic. Essentially the result was, it wasn't pee. I didn't wet myself, thank god. but it is a another type of fluid, basically. She did give it a name, but I can't remember what it was. But it's quite common in the heat and with heavily pregnant women. So she said she fully expects her day to be full of doing all those checks. So it's not just me, and we did the right thing. And if I continue to have similar feelings, then it's not to say my waters haven't broken. So to ring back again. However, it doesn't mean everything is stood down. It's back to how we were, and I've got another week until induction. But it's probably done me a favour, because even if I am now induced, I feel a little calmer about it, because I know how the process works now. And it doesn't rule out having a water birth, which I thought it did. The only drawback is that there's only one birthing pool on the delivery suite, so obviously it's potluck as to whether you get it. But no, I'm absolutely exhausted now, and it was almost a bit of an anticlimax, because I'd actually built myself up that, okay, we can have a baby. Mark and I were talking about future birthday parties being on the bank holiday weekend, and then now at the end of it, nothing's happened. But that's okay. Now we can come home, we can relax. We're going to go for a Sunday dinner in a little while, and it's a case of just having a bit of a chill, and we've got another week until induction. But yeah, that has been quite an exciting 24 hours, but just need to try and recuperate and regather ourselves now. So hello, we have had our 41-week midwife appointment today, and it didn't quite go as expected, a bit like last week really. Following the loss of my mucus plug, I really thought we were actually progressing. I knew I was going to have a second sweep, but I was actually hopeful that it would do something, and they'd say that we had actually progressed quite a way already. But as it happens, she wasn't even able to perform the sweep. She couldn't actually even get in far enough to do it, so that is a definite failure, and that was fairly uncomfortable again. And although miracles happen, as we all know, and this baby is certainly one, spontaneous labour is looking more and more unlikely really, and so realistically I need to gear myself up for the induction this weekend, which I'm not going to lie, I'm really disappointed about. Really disappointed. You can't help but feel almost a bit of a failure that you've not managed to do it yourself, and it doesn't help the amount of people who then ask you how far gone you are, and you say, I'm 10 days overdue, or on this however long overdue, but they then turn and go, oh right, yeah, well I had mine a week early, 2 days early, 1 day overdue, all these dates which don't come anywhere near to yours, and you can't help but feel, which is ridiculous because it's not a competition, each baby's different, every labour is different, every pregnancy is different, every woman is different, but you can't help feeling that it's a bit of salt in the wound that you've not managed to do it. So yeah, I mean, ultimately I'm trying to hold on to the fact that the end goal was to have a baby. We will have a baby, albeit that it might not be in the way that I'd hoped originally, and ultimately, even though I did hypnobirthing teaches you skills to make the best of the birth that you've got. It doesn't necessarily have to be completely free of pain relief, it doesn't have to be on a midwifery led birthing unit, it doesn't have to be a water birth. it's about making the best experience of a situation, of having the most positive birth that you can. So that's what I've now got to hold on to, and if it happens before then it's a bonus, really. Like I say, I am disappointed. I'm doing my utmost to be absolutely fine about it when really I'm not. So today we will just almost let it slide, really, and then from tomorrow we'll put some positive pants back on. And as a midwife says, keep doing everything that I'm doing. So I'm taking evening primrose oil, which is meant to help. I'm still going for my walks. I'm not buying any more fibre leaf tea. I've gone through 3 bloody boxes already, and that's not done nothing. So I'm not going to buy any more of that stuff. But you know, I'll keep having my relaxing baths and sniffing clary sage and doing all those kind of things. So we'll keep on, and we'll enjoy the rest of the week as a couple, and potentially do things that we're not going to have a chance to do when the baby's here, and then focus on how we can make, you know, the new style birth as positive as possible. So yeah, it is what it is. Wasn't what I was hoping, wasn't what I was expecting, and ultimately disappointing. But hey ho, tomorrow's a new day. We'll get over it. Like I say, I'll put on some positive pants, and we'll crack on. But yeah, that's where we're at so far, really. So there you are, that's my bump fully covered. It still extends quite a way. If I show you what I mean by the overhang, I'm really sorry, to show you it I'll have to uncover my bump. Hopefully you can then see what I mean, and the fact that there's a lot more weight down here. So whereas before I'd start up a lot higher and perhaps come round and just stop, bearing in mind that is my knicker-line, particularly last night it was coming like over, so there's a lot more weight down here. Oop, put my hand there and the baby's moving around. Yeah, there's a lot more going on here, so I don't know, I like to think that's a positive sign, but we will see. Hello. So it's been a couple of days, so I thought I'd give you a bit of an update. Now I have my positive pants back on. So it is now Thursday, so that makes me 41 weeks and 5 days. So we are now down to the last 48 hours prior to induction. And I'm feeling a lot better about it, really. I spent a lot of time yesterday reading through the process about what will happen, and how we can make it the best birth possible, really. So it's all about making, it's my birth, well, mine and Mark's birth, but it's, you know, it's my labour. So it's all about how can the midwife support me in making it the best possible experience for me, Mark, and the baby. And ultimately, the end goal is to have a baby, and that is what will happen. How it gets here will be irrelevant as and when it's in my arms. But the process will be, we should get a call from delivery suite Saturday morning telling us what time to come in. If we haven't heard by lunchtime, then we need to give them a call. There are a variety of different ways that inductions can take place. So first being, if your cervix is already dilated and they can get to your waters, then all they need to do is break your waters to then trigger contractions. If that is the case, because I will still be 42 weeks, so up until midnight on my 42-week day, so Saturday for me, I will actually still be allowed on MLBU. So best case scenario, I'll still be allowed on the midwifery birthing unit. However, I think we need to be realistic in that I don't think that is going to happen, but you never know. That is a possibility. The next step would be to insert a pessary, which will be a 24-hour pessary. So it's, from what I understand, it's a gel tablet. So much in the same way that it will be inserted like a tampon, and like if you had thrush or something like that, will then be inserted. There will be strings attached, so it can be removed at any time, which is a positive, because apparently the old way was they'd insert it and then say you were really, really sensitive and contractions started straight away, the pessary would then stay in you and it would carry on like triggering the body, so things then accelerated far faster than they needed to, whereas now they can then remove it straight away if they need to. I must stress these are methods because I'm a first time mum. There is another method called a balloon method, which is a drug-free method, but that's only if it is like a second or a third birth, not if you're a first time mum. So unfortunately that method's not available to me. And again, I believe if you have the balloon method, you're also allowed on MLBU. I could be wrong on that. But either way, so that would be a 24-hour pessary. I would be allowed home. I don't know how long I'd be allowed home for. I don't know if it's for the full 24 hours or potentially just for the for 12 or something, and would then have to stay the night still. I'm not sure, but that will be clarified on Saturday if that's the case. If that failed, they'd then go on and do another 2 pessaries, both of which would be stronger pessaries lasting 6 hours each. Again, they can be removed at any time. But in between that, it wouldn't just be a case of, 24, done, bam, on to the next one, done, bam, on to the next one. Each kind of scenario would be dependent on there actually being staff to assess me and actually carry out the procedure. So that could be hours in between, that could even be days if they're busy with emergencies or actual women in labour. Obviously me just sitting there, I'm not a priority. And in those situations I'll just be on the labour ward, just waiting really. So 3 pessaries down, if that still hasn't worked, you'd then be moving on to the oxytocin drip. It's called something like syntocin, but it stands for synthetic oxytocin. So oxytocin is the hormone that gets your labour started, and this is a synthetic version, which I haven't heard I have obviously not heard amazing things about any of induction methods, because at the end of the day it is falsely putting your body into something that should naturally happen. So whereby contractions in a spontaneous labour, like where you've gone into labour yourself, gradually progress and ramp up, the contractions you get at the end of a spontaneous labour you get from the beginning of an induced labour, and you have that for the same time, however long you were going to, however long you were going to labour anyway. Throughout that, obviously, there's also the added complication of the fact that the baby hasn't chose to vacate. So because the baby hasn't chose to vacate, the baby isn't necessarily going to be working with you. So a lot of it will be you doing the work, basically, whereas normally the baby kind of works with you and navigates its way down the birth canal as well. Because, again, of that, it can be quite distressing for the baby. So they will need to continuously monitor the baby throughout. Also, which then means there's a bit more wires and things involved, so that can limit your movement, whereas I would like an active and upright labour, so gravity is on my side. But these are all just considerations that I can then discuss with my midwife team as and when I meet them at the weekend. And it's all just going to be a case of just going with the flow, seeing what situation my body is in, seeing what the situation is at the hospital, and just going with it, really. I've got my hypnobirthing techniques. I know what kind of environment I want around me. I need to just believe in myself, and kind of keep talking to the baby that, you know, me and your dad will coach you through this. It'll be fine. We are here and we're looking forward to meeting you, regardless of the fact that you're actually being a bit of a lazy so and not coming right now. I really am beginning to hate the term overdue. My baby isn't a bag of popcorn that, you know, should have gone pop and finished cooking after 40 seconds in the microwave. It doesn't know what day of the week it is, let alone what the date on the calendar is. It hasn't got an expiry date. You know, it's not a piece of canned tuna. And there's not to say anyone knows when it actually started cooking, because due dates are calculated either via your first day of the period. Well, I didn't have any periods, and everyone's cycle is a completely different length anyway. Or on your first scan, they literally drag like the mouse and draw a line across the baby, and that measurement then calculates like the days and whatever. So it only takes for someone to have a shaky hand, and statistics have shown that if you had 3 sonographers looking and measuring the same scan picture, you would get 3 different due dates. So I really do hate this term when everyone keeps going, oh, you're late, you're overdue. No, it's not. And there's a 5-week delivery window of between 37 weeks and 42 weeks. All right, if we go to 42 weeks plus 1, then we are beginning to get over that time. But there is a 5-week delivery window for a reason. So if my baby chooses to go right up to that deadline, who's to say it's wrong? That is completely up to them. And that's not to say that our dates were right to begin with anyway. But we have nothing else to go on, so it's not a case of changing the date. But it's just, again, it's terminology and how that can make people feel. And it did make me laugh. I've been reading my Penny Hooper midwife book, and that's been really, really helpful, because she talks from a really practical point of view. Really, she's great on social media as well. Really on Instagram, really funny. But she also talks about the fact that the dates, and she went overdue with all of her children. So she's got 4 daughters, 2 of which, 2 of the daughters were twins. And she lists all of the emotions that you then go through, and the fact of how you feel whenever she's yeah, you know what, I have it, or how, even if people do not mean it at all, you end up getting people, oh, my baby's early, my baby's 3 weeks early, and now you just make me feel like a failure, because I have to get baby in a good position. But I will show you a quick bump shot, because I think baby has got lower. I feel like I've got a lot more, okay, it's going to sound gross, but overhang over my underwear. And we'll see what happens. But if I go into labour, obviously I'll tag that onto the end of this vlog. If I don't, then we'll be on to week 42 and the induction vlog. And I'll try and document as much of that journey as possible, purely because I've been trying to find some positive induction stories online just to help my positive mental attitude. And I've really struggled. And even the ones that have been labelled as positive, actually when I watch it, I'm thinking, you know what, that's not that positive. I wouldn't call that positive. You're not helping me by saying stuff like that. So it would be nice if I could, there's one I've come across, but it will make me feel better if I could actually help someone else who's in potentially our position. But until then, if that doesn't happen, then the next time I will see you, we'll have a baby in my arms.